Hey y'all, this is Nina Stevens, and I'm in the South where sushi is still called bait. So, what am I doing today? Today, you get 2 for the price of 1. I'm making 2 different recipes today. Hang on, why can't I do this? Alright. The first one that I'm making, agoraphobic Adam, is a pepper jelly recipe. And what I'm doing now is I am slicing up these peppers to put in my Ninja processor. I'm going to chop them up in there. I don't like real big chunks in my pepper jelly, so I want them kind of small. So I'm going to chop up the peppers and the green peppers and the jalapeno peppers. And I'll show you how I go about making that. The second thing I'm making today is apple butter. I've got apples that I'm going to slice and quarter and put them in the crock pot. So I'm going to go over both of these with you today, and hopefully you'll decide to give them a try because they are both delicious. Alright, let me bring you over here and show you what I got. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, I've got all my peppers chopped up. So I need about 4.5 cups of chopped bell pepper. Depending on how much liquid is in this, I may let them drain. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Look at that. That's really good. I like that. I like that consistency. Absolutely. Put it on there one more time. I've got some big pieces in there, but this makes quick work. Quick work of chopping peppers. Alright, so that's a little more finer, but it also has liquid in it. So I'm probably going to end up draining these in a colander to get that liquid out. You don't want a lot of extra liquid in your jelly, because if you do, it won't set properly. So let me go ahead and get these chopped up and I'll bring you back. Alright, so this is my bowl with the trimmings from the peppers. So all I did was put the bell peppers in this plastic strainer. And I'm mashing it down. Can you see that liquid coming out of there? That's quite a bit. So you can do this with cheesecloth if you have it. I could not find my cheesecloth, so guess what? I didn't do it with cheesecloth. It's whatever you got that works, you know. Alright, so I need about 4.5–5 cups of peppers. These are the green peppers. I really like the consistency of doing this with the processor. So, I'm going to let these drain. And while those are draining, I'm going to put, I've got 2 cups in there already. This is another cup, it's not quite full. I'm going to put my jalapeno peppers in here. I'm going to slice them in half and de-seed them. And just put, you only need, I believe it's half a cup. You only need a half a cup of jalapeno peppers, depending on how hot you like it. I'm going to shoot for a half a cup. We'll see what I come up with. Alright, let me do that and I'll bring you back. Alright, so I got my, it was closer to 5 cups than 4.5, but I got 5 cups of chopped bell pepper. And since the peppers that the jalapeno peppers that I was using was so large, it only took like 2 of them to get what I needed for the hot peppers. These are jalapenos. It's supposed to be half a cup. It's a little bit more. That's alright. It'll be fine. Alright. So, the next ingredient is apple cider vinegar. Alright, I'm going to put 1 1/4 cups of apple cider vinegar in this pot. Alright, and I'm going to bring it over to the stove and bring it to a boil. I've got the 1 1/4 cups of apple cider vinegar in there with my peppers, my green peppers, and my jalapeno peppers. So I'm going to bring it to a boil. Now, this recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of the Sure Gel. So this is what I've got, the Sure Gel. And it also calls for 2 cups of sugar and 1 cup of honey. Well, I'm not putting honey in mine, so I'm going to use 3 cups of sugar. And the 3 tablespoons of Sure Gel. I'm going to put the Sure Gel in there first, and then get the sugar measured out. So I'm using 3 cups of sugar. Alright, so this is boiling. It is a rolling boil. So I'm stirring it. I'm not putting the sugar in until the rolling boil can't be stirred down. Alright, so I've got 9 jars set out here just in case I run out of room. And I've got, this is going to be water bath canned, so I've got my water bath canner over here heating up. Alright, so on my Sure Gel, y'all know how I am about measuring, right? So the recipe called for 3 tablespoons of Sure Gel. Well, this box only had like 4 tablespoons. So I put the whole dang box in there. It's not going to hurt anything. But I just want to make sure I told y'all that, because I'm real bad about not measuring. And I'm doing the pepper jelly first because it takes so long to peel the apples, and I'm peeling them all and putting them in a crock pot. But I'll tell you that whenever I get to it. Alright, so I think this is good. So I'm going to add 3 cups of sugar. Now I've got 2 partial bags of sugar. I'm going to use them first. cup. Two cups. Three cups. Make sure my lid's off. I don't want them to boil. Alright, so I'm stirring this to get the sugar dissolved. And then I'm going to bring it back to a boil again. Now all my jars have been sterilized already. And the only thing I do to sterilize my jars you see this rack? I set my jars on that rack and set them down in this water and boil them for 10 minutes. Then I pick them up and they're good to go. That's all I do to sterilize my jars. I don't have a dishwasher, so I don't run them through the dishwashing cycle or any of that good stuff. So that's how I do it. And it's okay if I have extra jars because I'm doing the apple butter. So the apple butter is going to go in the same size jar. My favorite way to eat pepper jelly is to put it over cream cheese and eat it with crackers. But also on fish, fried fish, it is scrumptious. And burgers. Good on burgers too. And black-eyed peas. Oh my Jesus. That's good stuff. This doesn't last long when I make it. Yeah. So I don't know the shelf life. I cannot answer that question. I know somebody's going to have it. What's the shelf life? I have no idea. Same thing with the apple butter. I have no idea how long it's supposed to last, but I know it doesn't last very long. Alright, so it's to a rolling boil again. Turn it down a little bit so it don't bubble over. I'm gonna boil it for 3 minutes, give or take. And it's frothy, but that's alright. So I'm just gonna let it boil for 3 minutes and then cut it off and start ladling it in my jars. Alright, so it is been boiling for 3 minutes and I cut it off. I'm going to let it cool slightly. Now you can use different colored peppers to make your pepper jelly. Some people like them with red peppers, some people like them with yellow. I just use green. If you're doing it for like Christmas time, red peppers would be pretty. So I'm leaving a 1/2 inch headspace. This is my vinegar. I'm going to clean the top of the jar. That's what it looks like. Put that in the jar and put that in the canner. You having problems with the honeybees? Poor Callie. Alright, so it looks like I'm going to have part of a jar, but that's okay, because that's the taster. My front door is open, so the honeybees are coming in. So I'm going to process this half jar, same amount of time as the full jars, 10 minutes. There they are in the canner. Alright, so you want to make sure that the water covers your jars when you're water bath canning. So I'm going to put the lid on this and let it come to a boil. When it starts boiling, I'm going to process it for 10 minutes. And I'll bring you back when I bring them out. Alright, so the timer has went off. So I'm going to be pulling these jars out of this water bath canner and setting them on this towel. So I'm going to let them set. And then the one that's a half a jar, whenever it cools and they seal, I'll open that to taste it, to see how I like it. And next up is the apple butter. I'm going to start peeling and coring the apples and fill up my crock pot. I have a large crock pot. I'm going to fill it where it mounds with the apples, and I'll bring you back when I get that done. So let me let these cool and I'll bring you back when I open that one. Alright, so the second part to this is the apple butter. Now what I've got in this crock pot is 10 pounds of apples. I don't have one of those snazzy apple peeler core things, so I did this the old-fashioned way. I peeled these apples by hand. Put them in my crock pot, mound them up. The key to making a good apple butter is to have a crock pot that can go low. You want to cook it on low until all these apples are tender and you can whip them and make a butter out of them instead of chunks. Alright, so in this bowl I've got 2 cups and a little bit of sugar. And this is ground allspice, so I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of ground allspice. I've got cinnamon. I'm going to do about a teaspoon, maybe a mounding teaspoon of cinnamon. This is ground cloves. I'm going to do about half a teaspoon of ground cloves. I'm going to do about a half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. And some salt. I'm going to mix this all up together. So this is what the mixture looks like. It's a nice brown color and it smells fabulous. So I'm going to sprinkle this over these apples and let them simmer on low until tomorrow. It'll probably take overnight for them to get to the right consistency before I put them in the jar. And if I taste them and they need something else, then I'll just add it. Now as these cook down, the lid will go down, but I don't want the lid to stay on tight. I want it to kind of be cocked to the side so that the moisture can come out. So I'm going to turn these on low and just set the lid up there. It stays cocked up, and before I go to bed I'll stir them up, and as they lower then I'll cock the lid to where it stays open so the moisture can escape. Now there's no liquid in here. These apples are going to make their own liquid. I'll just let that cook. I'm going to taste this. Mmm. Mmm. my God, that's so good. It's not real sweet. It's got a little spice to it. It doesn't have a real bad kick. So that 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of jalapeno peppers was the perfect amount of heat. This one's going in the refrigerator for me to eat. Absolutely. Alright, so that's the end of part 1. Come back tomorrow to see the finish of the apple butter. And that's it for today. Until next time, I'll see you later.